Ariel, launching now! Skyman, here it goes!
They're legendary mobile suits called Gundam.
"45 years ago, in the spring of 1979, legendary director Yoshiyuki Tomino led a talented team of animators and storytellers in creating the mecha anime series Mobile Suit Gundam. The original 43-episode series was considered a commercial failure at the time and canceled by Sunrise due to low toy sales. The passionate fan base of Gundam, however, refused to accept the cancellation. Their unwavering enthusiasm inspired a revival of the series, resulting in the production of a movie trilogy that achieved remarkable success, grossing over 5 billion yen in total. That's over $54 million by today's standard. This triumph marked the beginning of Gundam's enduring legacy, spanning 4 decades with a multitude of new series, movies, video games, toys, and other merchandise. In keeping with the spirit of the fans who fought to keep Gundam alive in the summer of 1980, we would like to welcome you to our tribute to the franchise, firstly as Gundam fans and secondly as content creators. It is my honor and privilege to help kick off this year's Gundam Celebration event for fans, by fans. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Midnight Hatter Live, the weekly variety show where we talk Gundam, Gunpla, gaming, and all other good stuff. I am, of course, Steven, aka Midnight Hatter, your host. Joining me, as always, is the Gundam explainer himself, Adam Blue. And we have a special guest today for a spectacular special episode of today's show. Joining us today, content creator, cosplayer, and all-around anime ambassador, VampyBitMe. How are you today, Vampy?
I'm doing great. I mean, we got to talk a little bit before, so I'm super excited to be here. I mean, yeah, we're celebrating all things Gundam. I mean, of course, I want to be part of this. So thank you for
Yeah,
having me.
it would feel
yeah.
wrong not having you here because, you've been such a huge part of the fan base, and, I really do wanna thank you for kind of getting out in front of the crowds at conventions and things like that, and really promoting the franchise that we all love and keeping it alive all of these years. So,
Oh,
you do
thank
so
you.
much more than guys like Adam and I who just make videos.
No, I think everyone is important. We all have to
Yeah.
build those building blocks, and we all start somewhere. And we all started from here, and then now, we talk to each other now. Like we're here together, so it's pretty awesome.
It is.
Yeah, it's a very awesome opportunity, I think, to kind of come together and celebrate this thing that we all love so much. And Adam, how are you doing today? You having a good day
Nope.
so far?
Having a good day. I'm proud of that prototype Double Zeta video that went up this morning, the Metal Robot Spirits. That's another discussion for another time, but I love that thing. If you guys haven't seen that mobile suit, check it out.
Well, and we both are big Double Zeta fans. You more than me,
Yeah.
but yeah, the prototype Double Zeta is pretty sweet looking. So if you haven't seen that video yet, go check it out after the stream. Now today we have sort of, like I said, exciting topic. We're kicking off the Springtide Gundam celebration event. So it's going to be 4 days of Gundam fans and content creators coming together to do these kind of fun shows, and hopefully you guys got a kick out of that little preview trailer that I just ran for us. Now, before we hop into today's topic, which we're going to be kind of going through some pop culture milestones and things like that throughout the last 45 years, I do have some boring housekeeping stuff, but hopefully you guys will be excited about it because we're announcing a couple of giveaways. So, first, today's show, as well as all other shows this month, are sponsored by our good friends at Zeeg New York. Shout out to Zeonic Shadow and those guys. So, as you can see, we have a giveaway going on. Well, they have a giveaway that they've been sponsoring. If you did not get a Gundam Maxter during the last P Bandai drop, this is your opportunity to win one. Go check them out on Instagram. They've got the rules here on screen. Winner must live in the United States. Tag 3 friends. Follow Zeeg New York. Get yourself a Gundam Maxter this month, and they're going to be doing monthly giveaways, as I understand it. So
That's awesome. Yeah, follow them.
now, speaking of Gundam fans and keeping the Gundam fandom alive, like I said, Vampy, thank you for doing your part. I am doing my part. This past weekend,
Great.
I took my 1-year-old daughter to the Bandai flagship hobby store in town here in Richmond, Virginia, and she got to meet my idol, the RX-78 Gundam. And she was so cute with it too. She was like, "Hi, hi."
I love that I mean, these pictures are gonna be forever for you. I mean,
Oh
especially
yeah.
for her. I mean, that I wish I had pictures like that growing up. That's awesome. I
I
love that.
know, I'm so excited, I can't wait to show these will probably be the pictures I show at her wedding. Um,
How cool is
but,
that?
she did me a favor because she picked out the giveaway item that I'm gonna be
Oh,
giving away today, so
I
she
wonder
make
what it is.
Papa so proud because she chose the Master
Wow.
Grade Zeta Gundam Verka. So I picked up one of those this weekend, and, I'm gonna be shipping it out to one of you lucky viewers today if you do the following things. I just want you to comment. Don't chat it because I don't want to lose it in the flood of chat. So comment on the YouTube video below your favorite piece of Gundam media, whether it's model kits, video games, whatever your favorite show is, even if it's a soundtrack. Just comment whatever your favorite piece of Gundam media is. Tell us why. And tune in tomorrow to the Gundam Explained show, and we will announce a winner at random.
Very cool.
So yeah, you're going to be getting a Master Grade Zeta Gundam Verka and a set of exclusive, one of a kind, custom water slide decals designed by yours truly, included in the box. So I hope you guys will
Pretty good.
hop onto that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry, I know that's the boring stuff. We got to get those things out of the way so that you guys can actually, enter for your chance to win these kits. Now we can hop into the topic in proper. So I titled this presentation. I don't know. We're not gonna be so formal about it that we stick to the script. But just Gundam pop, because we've got like 45 years of pop culture. Whether it's video games, whether it's soundtracks, things like that. We're just gonna kind of go through a couple of milestones of Gundam and kind of do a roundtable of like, well, what was your first video game? What was your first, anime series that kind of got you into the franchise? And hopefully it'll be fun. Are you guys into that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That stuff is fun.
Yeah, you're like, enough of this guy talking.
Yeah, exactly, Steven. Come on. No, I'm
So this is one of the first things that I want to address, because part of the whole Gundam Springtide fan festival that we've got going on here is celebrating not just 45 years of Gundam, but 45 years of Gundam fans, because they're the ones that fought to keep it alive after it got canceled. Now, I am not familiar with the Animec magazine. Are you guys?
no.
No, not at all.
So
It
this is
looks
one of the
cool though.
covers
I
that
mean,
came out.
Yeah.
This is one
yeah.
of the covers that came out in the 80s that was like, they were writing letters to Sunrise saying like, "Don't cancel this show, please."
Ah, yeah.
That's crazy. It's like modern times with social media when people see like what's being talked about. Sometimes the executives are like, okay, maybe we should listen.
Yeah,
That is
I imagine
true.
Yeah.
maybe like 45 years from now, we're going to be like screenshotting tweets that people sent, like,
Yeah.
at Sony. It's-
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's oddly enough, that was one of my jobs to do is to screenshot all comments that were negative and I had to send it. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
happening. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a thing.
Yep.
So
That's
yeah.
that's one thing that like Adam and I talk about pretty regularly is that, companies listen and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like with Gundam Breaker 4 coming out, so many
Oh,
fans were
Waiting
clamoring
for
for a
asking
Gundam
for
Breaker
it.
revival.
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
It's
especially
actually
after, I
happening.
mean, I don't like to say this too much, but after New Gundam Breaker, I was like, what is going on here? So,
Yeah.
we don't want to talk about that too much, but with New Gundam Breaker, I remember when I first streamed it. I turned off the stream after an hour because I was so confused. I'm like, what
Oh,
happened
wow.
to my game?
And it's tough when you're trying to share that stuff and
Yeah,
yeah.
live, and
Yeah.
you're just like,
Hmm.
why am I moving like this? And where's my stuff? So it was interesting, but I'm really excited for it. I mean, we all are, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
Yeah.
hopefully it'll be a revival of the series because, it's part of not only does it touch on video game culture, but it's also the Gunpla culture, right? Which we were
yeah,
Yeah, that's
talking
the
about kind of in
crossover.
the green room before the show started was like, there are Gunpla fans and then there's Gundam fans and there's a little bit of overlap.
very
Yeah.
true. And a few of my friends actually got into that game, and they don't build, but it got them to build. So
Oh,
it's
see,
pretty
that's
And I
cool.
think that that's like the goal, right? Is to kind of
Hmm.
like tease people into these hobbies by engaging with them on a different
Right.
level that they're more comfortable with.
Yeah, and they're like customizing. They're like, "Oh, I'm customizing. I kind of do what you're doing right now." And I'm like, "Okay, then do it. Buy some
Yeah,
kits."
right.
So,
Yeah, put your money where your mouse is.
yeah, I feel like the Gundam fandom is always like everyone wants to it's just like any other fandom. If it makes you happy, you want more people to be part of it, especially your
yeah.
friends or whoever you talk to. And what you guys do, it's like, "Hey, let's teach you something about this series so you can get into it and be like me with stacked Gunpla everywhere."
Yeah. That's what
Yeah,
happens.
exactly. I mean, are you really even a Gundam fan if you don't have a backlog 30 kits deep?
I know.
I mean, sometimes I don't want it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we'll talk more later about that, but figuring out where to put it is
Yeah.
the problem
It's a whole
after a
lot
Yeah.
of things.
while. So,
I can't wait for my daughter to move out so that I can use her room.
oh, oh my gosh,
Already.
she's not that old.
I know
Oh
I've got
my god, I
got at
wonder
least
if my
17
dad was
years.
thinking that for his stuff. I'm
But
like,
hey,
oh
you're thinking of your future, Steven. I appreciate it.
Exactly.
self
Now
care,
this is something
self care. Oh my god. Okay.
So this is something that I think, Adam, you're going to resonate with because one of the earliest things that happened that kind of got Gundam back on the map was that the soundtrack sold out. And the poor composer of the soundtrack was like, some of these tracks from the TV show are like 20, 30 seconds long. You want me to make them 3 minutes and then make a whole album?
Yeah.
And what's fascinating about it is that the first copy of the album only sold like 10 to 20,000 copies. But when they changed the cover art from like the cartoony Gundam on the front to this beautiful glow up from Yoshikazu Yasuhiko of just Amuro, and it's that
Mhm.
watercolory style painting that he does so well, 100,000 copies out the door. Like,
Here's the original
Oh, that's fun. Do you have the I
1980.
have one. I have one of those, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's rare. So rare.
Well, you know
so
what?
rare.
It might be that it's rare. I think I got it for like 40 on eBay, which seemed like a good deal. So I was like, oh,
But I don't
Yeah.
think a lot of people know,
yeah, it could be
because
what it
when I
is. Yeah.
mention it, they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
Because they're most people are buying it on CD, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
And
the
vinyl was something I've just recently gotten back into, where I've been
Oh,
like
nice.
buying like video game soundtracks on vinyl and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'll get some Gundam stuff because for me, the music is all a part of the whole experience. Like I love music.
Yes.
So like I like that I can look at a cool robot, watch it fight and then listen to some cool music with it. So I could see, and I think it's cool. It's telling that the music was so popular that it kind of helped early on.
It's just
So,
the music in general. It's just Gundam music is
yeah,
just soul, your
It's just a
soul.
bop.
yeah, you could
You
feel
know,
it.
right when you hear it, you're like, "I'm there."
Yeah,
You know, you feel more
exactly.
powerful and it's uplifting. I mean, I do my makeup while listening to,
Oh, there you go.
like a lot of the music, which is
That's
really funny.
awesome.
I'll play it and be like, "Oh my god," and I'll play, like, all the music, when I'm just getting ready because it's that good, you
Yeah,
know? It's
it
that
is.
good.
And it's so
Yeah.
immersive, and it just kind of creates that atmosphere. So, Vampy, what would you say is like your favorite series soundtrack if you could pin one
Oh
down?
my god, that's really
Sorry, I
okay,
don't mean
you
to put you on the spot.
uh, I
Well,
always listen to Zeta all the time.
oh, okay. I was about to say, yeah.
Yes.
I was like, let
Zeta
me
is
think about it.
epitome of, like, the style I like,
Yeah.
because I didn't understand it very much. I mean, maybe this is too much, but I didn't understand it very much whenever it was around me. I was like, "What is this about?" Because I was so young. But hearing the music is so nostalgic and it just feels good. I think for
Yeah.
me, I really like, even though I wasn't born in the 70s, I love 70s music. I love the style. I love like that look, 80s, 70s kind of look. So I was
Yeah.
super obsessed with that. So every time I listen to Zeta, it just makes me really happy. So
Yeah, and
that's
I would
mhm.
say that's my favorite too. It's funny though that you talk about that nostalgia because I was born in '83, and there's
Oh,
something
okay.
about watching the original Gundam and Zeta where it's like I didn't watch them when I was younger, but I
Yeah,
feel connected somehow. Like it is a part
it's
of the
the
things I
era.
love. Yeah,
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 like that's yeah, early 80s. So it's
yeah.
just like, "Oh, this is what I was supposed to,
Yeah,
be into,
supposed to.
right?"
Yeah, that seems like it. Yeah,
Because what do we start out with? Transformers, Voltron,
yeah,
that kind of stuff. So like mecha in general was already something that we're used to on TV. So having the Gundam like introduced in our life later is like, oh, of course,
yeah.
I would like this,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
right?
funny because I didn't get into Transformers or Voltron, but like Gundam, I get, and that's another telling thing about it is its
Interesting.
storytelling. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of it is because it seems more realistic in terms of someone piloting a mech, not like a super robot, which I know that's a whole other genre people like too. So not
Yeah.
Yeah.
dismissing that, but
So, like, Adam, to bridge the gap, like one of my favorite mecha animes when I was growing up was Gigantor, which isn't
Oh,
technically
yeah.
like a pilot, but like the kid does have a remote control and he like does control Gigantor, but he's not inside Gigantor. Does that count for
uh,
you?
I'll have to watch that. I love that I'm discovering all these new shows like
There's a lot.
Gunbuster. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll have to check that one out then. Yeah, I've made a list. I found that website, My Anime List or whatever, and I will start putting things in. Oh, I need to watch these, and there's a lot.
But luckily it's compiled now. I feel like if you had to wait
Oh
for
yeah.
each episode, it's kind of as an adult, it's too much. It's like, just give it me all of it and I'll binge it
Or
when
if
I
you
have
only
time.
had random VHSs passed around to check, to see
Yeah,
what's on it. And nowadays it is
exactly.
all on the internet. Yeah,
I
it's
think
crazy.
I do have a question for both of you. What
Yeah.
was your first mecha, like, kind of either book, manga, or like, show? I'm curious now. Kind of want
Well,
to know.
yeah,
You want to
I'll
go
go
ahead?
first
Yeah.
real quick. Yeah. So I've always liked mecha, but I never thought it was interesting enough for me until, like
Mm.
Transformers and all that, until early 90s show called Exo Squad because
Oh,
the people were in the suits and they were like
Yeah.
fighting and it had a story. I was like, okay, this is
yes,
cool. But nothing ever really resonated with me. And then I got into Lost Planet, the Capcom games
yes.
with the mechs, and I was like, okay, this is a mech done right. Or even in Aliens, Ripley in the power suit,
Oh,
the
she's
power
the
word.
best.
Yeah. And
Really is.
yeah,
Yeah, the
and really that was it for me. I've always liked mecha, but it wasn't until discovering Gundam that I was like, oh, this is my mecha. So
Yeah.
no pun intended.
amazing.
Steven?
I guess I kind of had a similar story. I did love Exo Squad, but yeah, like I mentioned earlier, when I would wake up in the morning, I would have Astro Boy and Gigantor. It was like, because I would wake up at 7, my dad would fix me breakfast, and then I would end up going to school. So I had like an hour of time before I had to like go catch the bus, and it was like a back to back. I don't even know what channel we were watching it on, but yeah, Gigantor and then Astro Boy. I think I would have to leave for the bus like maybe 10 to 15 minutes into Astro Boy, but so I've always had Tomino, you know, in my heart with Astro Boy.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's
for me, it wasn't until like the late 90s when I discovered Gundam as well, and I was like, "Yep, I am a Gundam wing guy. Yep, sign me up."
cool.
That's cool.
That's funny that you mentioned I love Astro Boy too. I actually have like anytime there's like Astro Boy stuff. I don't know if you
Oh, I
see.
love it.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I
because
always.
I wasn't into Gigantor, but mine was Transformers and
Oh yeah,
Voltron, Go Lion. But I loved Astro Boy too, and Doraemon was my first manga, which is like the cat, the robot cat. I
yeah,
blame my mom for that one because she gave it to me. She's like, "This is really popular," and I was like, "Huh? Why is it a robot cat?" But I don't want to go on too much about that. But interesting. I love hearing about where everyone
Yeah.
started with a robot like mecha anime or something like that. So that's
yeah.
cool.
And I mean, you both brought up Transformers. That's obviously like a big one for us, like kind of in the West, where it's like, we didn't get things like Gundam and Voltron right away. It was like we got Transformers first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I guess that would have been what, like mid to late 80s that it was ported over, because the movie came out in 86, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
but the
Um,
cartoons were playing all the time. So I think I was
True.
in preschool when I had my first Transformers. Yeah,
That's cool.
And
and I broke
Transformers, I
it.
think, really put the whole like merchandising on the map,
Yeah.
It
because
was
it was like
Yeah.
ridiculous.
toys
Yeah,
came first, and then they were like, let's make a story about this.
Yeah.
right.
That was so big. Still is. Transformers is still huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
love
and,
it.
it's crazy to me. Gundam came before Transformers, and yet we still don't have a proper live action Gundam movie yet.
Yeah, I
And
know.
yet we've had
Almost.
what, like 6 Transformers ones?
Yeah.
I mean, they were promoting one, right? The movie that's
There's
gonna come
supposed to
out?
be yeah, there's
Mhm.
supposed to be a live action movie coming soon. I cannot wait. I kinda
Oh yeah.
started my channel after hearing that news, and I've been waiting to cover it,
Ah,
but nothing has happened yet, so
there's no previews after that too. It was like 2 years
no.
ago, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've
Yep.
they've been
Yeah,
very quiet about it.
Mhm.
Um, and what are your thoughts on it? Like, are you excited about the live action movie? Trepidatious? What's the
I'll take whatever I can get as an adult. You know, it's kind of like,
Good point.
cool, give it to me. I'm one of those
beggars can't be
people.
choosers? We need to
Because
just
the thing is,
Yeah.
I'm not paying for it right now. I'll pay for the ticket to watch it, but I mean,
You don't have to put in any work for it to be made.
exactly. If you're gonna make it, I'll watch it
Yeah.
and I'll have an opinion. But
Yeah.
I think that I always bring this back, like, which ages me a lot, but I don't really care. It's just, being an 80s kid, you just want everything. Give me
yeah,
everything I want to know. So for us, it's like it's kind of an addiction, even through as an adult. It's like I would like to see that. How can
Yeah.
I see it?
Especially
So
as an adult where we wanna take those properties that could be done so well in the modern times,
yeah,
and yeah, we're getting that opportunity.
especially the money. They have the money. So it's like
Yeah.
I can't
exactly.
wait. And all these people are like discussing online, oh my God, this looks kind of weird, or he looks small. The Arc 78 looks tiny. I saw so many of those comments, and I'm like, I really don't care.
The knees are too sharp.
Yeah, it's of course they're gonna have problem. I mean, it's just like the Transformers movie, but we won't talk about that. Could be another thing. But just a lot of problems. But I'll take anything, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because you're never going to please an entire fan base, right?
No.
But the one thing that you can do is you can offend an entire fan base, which I learned on Twitter this week
Oh,
when Anime News Network dropped that like list, the watch list for
oh,
Gundam. They were like,
that was bait. That was
yeah,
definitely bait. I
right,
was
like
like
it had to be.
baiting.
They had to know what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I was like, someone commented that's bait, and I think it's a person I knew, and I was like, okay, I'm not reading that because
Uh-huh.
yeah, but
That's why
I
I
should
never
read
quote
it.
tweet. I screenshot because I'm like, I'm not giving you the quote tweet.
Oh,
Yeah, not even. It's definitely a bait. It seemed like bait because people were really angry. So
Yeah, engagement farming. So I do have a little slide here about the first Mobile Suit Gundam manga and novel series. Both actually came out concurrently with the show. Interestingly enough, Vampy, have you read the novel series, the
I
three
actually
novels?
have a reprint, I think, of that.
That copy.
Yeah.
So
So
do
I
I.
have it. You have it, right? They
Yeah.
reprint it. It looks nice. So I have it in my living room. So it's not here. But yeah, I have that one. But it's
Have you
awesome.
read it? Is I went through a chapter and I just haven't gone back. I think I lost my ability to read
I
a
feel
book.
like a lot of times when you read this stuff, it's like you know that the team's small. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And you
Yeah.
can yeah, it's nice to look at the pictures too. There's a lot of, like, stuff that
Oh
I
yeah,
just like
like
to look at pictures, so
reference stuff. Yeah, in there.
yeah.
Yeah, that's I like when they do that.
Yeah, it does definitely doesn't resonate the same as, like, having the kind of on-screen action that you can see and kind of
Mhm.
but one of the things that I talk about with Adam a lot is in the original series, there's so many of these still scenes where it's like they'll focus on a character's face and maybe there's like a little tremble that's going on. And that little tremble in the animation, not only did it save money because it was like, we don't have to
Yeah,
animate someone overly expressive, but it was like that was a subtle emotional moment that you just witnessed and you don't get that in the novel for sure.
for sure, and I think that, like, especially with these real robots, right? They are fighting, and you wanna see that action, just like building a railgrade. You wanna see it pose and do cool things, right? So it's
Exactly.
just when you see the books, you're like, "It looks cool," but it's not really it's not yeah, when you watch the anime and then you go to like this like a manga, it's kind
Yeah,
of hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And,
true.
like, I mean, as much as I love, Lord of the Rings, like, I hated reading the Two Towers book, like, compared to watching the movie because it's like, 90 pages of describing every little action, and it's like the whole battle's like maybe 15 minutes in the movie.
Yeah, it's so
It's a
Lord of
little
the Rings
longer
is
than
my
that, but
favorites. I love Lord of the Rings as well. And yeah, like well we have War in the Pocket here, you
Oh,
know.
yeah. So this was another kind of a milestone for Gundam because this was the first side story spin-off anime that didn't have Amuro and Char or like the sort of mainline story.
Right.
Um, I know what did you think of it, Vampy? Like when
Well, since it wasn't Tomino, it was very interesting for me because I didn't see his name in the credits, right? I think so.
yeah.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
like, "What's this?" But it was really good, for what it was at the time when I first watched it. I was like, "Very interesting." But in a lot of ways, I didn't understand a lot of this stuff. I was so young. I was very
Yeah.
young,
Yeah.
so even, like, Zeta, I had to watch way later again. I think I watched Zeta 3 times
Wow.
for things to absorb,
Yeah.
growing up, so it was just I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna rewatch it again, rewatch
Yeah, I
it
think
again."
you have to.
That
Yeah,
that's a good point because I wonder, yeah, if I watched 0080 as a kid, how I'd think of it. Because as an adult, there's a lot of themes that resonate
yes,
and that are very interesting. Yeah, that's a good point.
I
but
remember when the first, like, advertisements for the English dub of this came out, like the Toonami advertisements, and it was
yeah,
like,
that.
here's Al, and, Al is this kid living on this colony, like Labat, and, this Xeon command crashes, and I was like, "This sounds like a kiddie anime, like, this doesn't sound like Gundam to me, like, where are all the teenagers piloting robots? Like, I don't wanna hear about this kid." And then I watched it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, the advertisement for this was terrible because it's set up, like, completely the wrong idea." Like, I thought this was gonna be kind of like a slice of life about the kid Al, and it's like,
That is very true because, knowing Tomino, he loves talking about the war and how it's like, and having it promoted for kids was very interesting back then because it was not like that when you watch it. You're
no,
like, "What's
definitely
going
not.
on?" But it looked really good. I mean, it
It's
looked
so
beautiful.
good.
Yeah.
At the time, my family owned a VHS store, which is really funny because that's how
Oh,
I
cool.
watched all this anime. I was very lucky in that way because
That's
they
awesome.
moved from Oklahoma and they're like, "What kind of business should we open in California?" And they're like, "VHS store." And I was like, "Yay!" with my brother. We're like, "We get to watch all this stuff." But I don't know, like this was not there, but the other shows were. So it was very interesting to grow up seeing a lot of Gundam all over the place, and then also not understanding it because I was way too young. So I
See,
think I was into more the model kits, the BB
Oh
Senshi,
yeah.
you
oh,
know,
for sure.
the Sengoku stuff. So, yeah.
See, if your family was on this coast, I probably would have been your number one customer because that was how I watched anime. Was like my brothers
Ah,
and I would be like, "When is the VHS gonna drop? When is the VHS gonna drop?" We would hit like stores over and over. We'd be like, "Wait, I hear that there's this anime store in like Springfield. Let's drive 45 minutes out there, and we're gonna just like see if they have anything." Like,
That's
that's
cool.
pretty much everyone's story if they were like, trying to find anything. It's just you would go in groups or have a club or something where you trade. So that
Yeah.
was the only way. And luckily my family had it. So, whenever anything came in, me and my brother would be the first ones to watch it, and
it was
of course
quality
it would be
assurance.
gone,
It was
you know. It would be gone, but but we didn't understand it that much, it was very hard for us to absorb as children. We were really young. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. See, today's kids, they don't get it. They don't know how hard we had it.
Really? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they didn't have to mail in money orders and stuff. Yeah,
Right,
that's yeah.
exactly. Collect all
Wow.
their box tops um so this was an interesting one that I learned about. I've never played this particular Gundam video game, but
Mhm.
in 1983 was the first Gundam video game released on the MSX, Last Shooting, which is kind of like a
Wow.
rail shooter.
That's pretty impressive for 83.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adam, have you played this one at all?
No, for all the Gundam games I've been diving into and looking for, I had not come across this one yet.
Yeah,
I
I
like the
mean,
way it
I think
looks.
the
So
oldest
it's just like
Gundam
that?
game that I've played. What's that?
Oh, is it just a shooting? Obviously
Yeah,
it's
I
shooting.
mean,
Yeah,
you're kind of like in the Gundam cockpit and you shoot at DOMs for
That's
like
ridiculous. Oh,
ever.
yeah. Oh,
for
So it's
me.
cool.
interesting.
Yeah.
The oldest Gundam game that I've played is Zeta Hot Scramble. So that was
And which
Remember
and
that
I thought that one was fun.
what was that
But what
on? What
about you?
platform?
What was the oldest Gundam game that you've played?
I think like the one that me and my friends played a lot was the Battle Assault fighting game. And that was weird for me because I was like, why are they this size? And we're fighting. And it was yeah, it was really weird for me. But we liked it because we've played fighting games. So the Battle Assault fighting game, but I didn't go that far back in Gundam games. I played the Dynasty Warrior games as well. But I'm not really into the Dynasty Warrior kind of game style, but I did play them because it just had Gundam in it and like, that kind of thing. But
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
Yeah.
Battle
like you
Assault
said, you
fighting
take
game
what
was
you can
definitely
get.
my first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
No,
this yeah, Rise from the Ashes. For me, yeah, this was my first, but I did not know what Gundam was or that this was Gundam. I just remember I love games, Dreamcast. I was like, this is the best mech game I have ever seen. And then I didn't really think about Gundam for like the next what, 20 years or less until I
Yeah.
discovered it again. Yeah, and I played this game recently, reviewed it on my channel recently. It still holds up very well.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fun. Maybe
Yeah.
I need to try that because I mean, I always saw the games too, but then I know I didn't want to. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna be fun. It's a
Yeah,
lot of
they're all
money.
different. You never
Yeah, it
know
was
if
super
one is gonna
expensive.
be involved, like you have to learn mechanics, or one's just fun, just to
Yeah,
Yeah, I think like Battle Assault is definitely one you can pick up and play. Dynasty Warriors, like you said, the gameplay
yeah.
kind of just makes itself, so you can kind of pick
yeah,
up and play it. Games like Rise from the Ashes or like even GBO2 are like you have to know what you're doing. They are,
Yeah, take your
it's
time, think
intense.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, like you, Adam, I picked this game up, and I just remember thinking like, wait, where the hell's the Wing Gundam?
Oh,
Oh, I
that's funny.
see.
Yeah, it was just a
Yeah, I was
YouTube
one of those
story.
lame Toonami kids. I don't think it wasn't until this game that I started to appreciate, Universal Century, and I was like, "Oh, this is so much better than what I was watching before."
That's
Yeah, because
cool.
Wing was like very popular with the women because it was just like the boys kind of, you know,
The
I
like
boys
like
it
anime.
Pretty
was
Boy
very
School,
popular
come
in
on.
Japan with the women. So and then when you go backwards and yeah, the UC stuff, and you're like, oh, okay. totally
This was
different.
the anime for boys. I got
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, that's a boy anime. But like I've always been a shonen like type, so I was like always into what they would broadcast to the boys or whatever. But I love like learning a lot. So having the stories by Tomono talking about war, was very interesting to me. So
Yeah.
having that was really cool. But not Wing was definitely not like that because it's not,
No.
the same timeline. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely not. And so again, it's one of those like, why was and we could talk about this I think for a moment, like because we were just talking before the show started about like generational Gundam fans, right? And how
Yeah.
like different people got into the series or well, got into the franchise, I should say, not just the series, but they got into it at different points in the sort of history of
Mhm.
Gundam. And so like, you know, I came in as a wing kid. I know a lot of people came in as like seed fans. Where did you got? Well, Adam, I know you kind of came in later, but Vampy, where did you kind of like?
The
What was your
introduction
jumping on
in
point?
general, so it's funny because my family, I don't know how they would get the anime because they would ship things to our in Oklahoma, where I lived. They would ship us stuff and like magazines or random stuff. So Zeta somehow was on VHS recorded, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" So that was like the first glimpse into
Oh,
it, but like
that's cool.
really getting into it would be Toonami, of
Yeah.
course.
Mhm.
Stood at that time. So watching Gundam Wing was like my actual first time spending time watching it like regularly. But introduction would be like the older anime. And I don't even know how. I don't even know how
Like
they got it. It's
it was
just
like core memories that were
Oh,
yeah,
reawakened
like my
in the
cousins
late
were 10
90s.
years older than me. So
oh,
you know there and I hung out with them all the time because I was in Oklahoma. There's nothing there. Like the city I was in, 13,000 people. How would you get anime? Like how
yeah.
so they
Yeah.
would just my family members, they're all like pretty nerdy, so they would send us like manga and things like that overseas, and it would be months later till we get it. And then there will be Gundam stuff in there. So and they're like, give that to Linda and Danny, because my brother is like 1 year older than I am, so we're around the same age. So we both like robots. So we didn't know too much about this stuff, so like Gundam, but we were interested in it. But yeah, Gundam Wing for sure, because it was easy. It was everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, that seemed to be like the biggest, Western push was like,
Hmm.
hey, we're gonna try and get a foothold in US markets with G Gundam and Gundam Wing.
Oh, G Gundam. Yeah, we can talk about that later.
Um,
G Gundam's crazy.
yeah, which again, it's like if you're talking about like how are you gonna introduce someone to like the Universal Century, G Gundam is not the way to like
No, because that's future century. Whatever, whatever
Yeah,
they call
and
these.
yeah,
just
like,
tonally
once you
different.
finish G Gundam, you're like, "Wow, I should check out some of these other Gundam series," and it's like, "This is not what I signed up for."
Yeah, it's like 0083 and then Stardust Memory and then, like, the Zeta would they have the Zeta Gundam, right? Or what they
Exactly.
steal the GP
Yeah,
O 2A.
yeah, the GPO1, those yeah, the GP series
Yeah,
and the Stardust
it's
Memory.
funny, I have it right here.
Oh, nice.
Sweet.
Oh,
GPO
GPO2?
2A. Somebody
Nice.
actually gifted this to me because I always talk about Stardust Memory because 'cause I'm like, "Do you guys know it?"
Oh,
When
that's
those
cool.
annoying people. They're like, "I have a kit," and I was like, "Oh, give it to me." But then
Give
they weren't gonna
me
give it to me because they weren't gonna build it, and I was like, "Okay."
Oh, yeah.
well,
I mean,
it's
everyone
like
has
you
kits
said.
they don't build.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, you kinda wanna offload kits.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
true.
do that, but then when they gave me this one, I was like, "Oh my god, remember they tried to steal the GBO 2 because 2A because it was so special? Because the
Yeah.
one was" yeah, anyway, moving on. But
So that's cool,
then
the
G
story
Gundam.
parts.
Yeah, the
It's
story
No,
was
no, I
cool.
mean,
it's cool to
honestly,
know the story parts.
I was
But
gonna say that kind of brings us to the topic of Gunpla because that was
yeah,
like again one of the big things that kind of saved the franchise.
Right.
Space Battleship Yamato had like the line of plastic model kits, and it was funny because no one had the rights to make model kits, and yet there were teenage fans that were petitioning Bandai like, please make plastic model kits, and this company was like, hey, we'll do it. Go for it.
Yeah,
And so yeah, the first Gundam Gunpla model kit was released in July 1980, and
look at
obviously
that.
they have not stopped since.
Crazy.
I love like the way they designed Arc 78, it's just so cute.
Right, because it almost looks like they're
He's
trying
just
to interpret the cartoon, and they're not
he
making
has
it
no neck
realistic.
and it's
Yeah,
very cute. Like you
yeah,
have
it's
no neck. Like, just no neck.
Yeah,
Um,
super broad chest,
yeah,
superhero
like
chest.
does nothing really moves on it. It's cute,
Yeah, I think they just have like the 2 points of articulation is just the arms
Right.
going up and
wow,
down.
crazy to think.
But it wasn't long before the high grade line was introduced. Now, this is actually a kit that I own is the Wave Shooter Zeta, which was like the first
Oh,
transforming kit that came out
right.
in 1990. And I think it still holds up. I think it's awesome.
I remember
But
that kit because I couldn't afford it because KB Toy Stores
Oh,
always had
KB.
sales.
Sure.
RIP KB.
Yeah, I know KB.
Yeah.
I don't like talking about it all the time, but it made me sad because KB Toy Stores in my area, and I lived in San Jose, so they had Gunpla, and that's where I bought my BB Senshi, and I bought my SD model kits, Sengoku, SPA Sengokus, and then I saw a bunch of high grades that I couldn't afford. So,
Wow.
like those are really cool. So you have this one.
Yeah, so gifted to
Ah.
me by a friend that was watching the stream. He said, like, "I know you like Zeta, have this one. I think
Oh,
it's special because it has like this special like cardboard insert that came with it." So,
yeah.
Wow.
They
I
did come with those back then. So
yeah,
yeah.
and this line was interesting because they did like combination injection molding for the plastic. So like the
Mhm.
parts came together on one runner, but they had multicolor, like they were already
Oh, that's
assembled.
rare. Well,
Yeah,
that's super rare because other kits were just like, "What is going on here?" You
yeah.
know?
Get
Um,
yourself a couple cans of paint because you're gonna need them.
what am I getting? Like a beige runner? Like, why is it beige? Because like the Gundam wing boxes had really cool art, and then like you
Oh,
get like
yeah.
some
Box
random
art.
runner that you don't even know what it is.
Doesn't even match. Well,
Yeah,
that's
it
funny.
doesn't even click together. So we're spoiled now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's
In fact, speaking of the Gunpla stuff and, like, when we get into Gundam, it was just 2018 when I went to a GameStop with my
yeah,
youngest, and we were like, "Let's get a model kit of a robot to build." And
right.
that's and I picked up the full armor unicorn, real grade, not
Oh,
even knowing what I was getting into, and that's kinda how
oh,
it
that's not
started.
that. Yeah, that
Yeah, he
shoulder.
went in the deep end, like, no
Yeah, I built
floaties, like
it, and when I was done, I was like, "Wow, this was the most incredible experience. What is this?" And then that's when it all
That's
started. Then I
amazing.
started searching online, and I started watching Unicorn, and I was like, "Okay, what is going?" So then I went back to the original.
That's
But
insane because if you started with a unicorn, the shoulder pieces, I hated that. I built like, when Unicorn came out, the music and
oh
everything
yeah,
was
the
so
music was
awesome.
yeah,
And
those domino tunes are
they really marketed so well.
it was
Even
really
out
good.
here, you're like, unicorn, and you're going crazy. And building the kits, if you that was your first kit, like, for the gunpla, that's insane.
well, I didn't have a frame of reference because 'cause I'd never really built model kits
Oh,
before.
that makes
It was
sense
just
then.
I like building things and doing
Right.
random stuff for crafting, and I was like, "This I like robots. Let's build this." And
Huh.
yeah.
Wow, maybe this building robots thing isn't for me, this is really hard.
That could be it too, because
Yeah.
the unicorn, even for me, gave me a lot of headaches because I was like,
Yeah,
this
it's hard.
the top piece was annoying because the shoulders,
Yeah.
I don't know,
That's
that maybe it's just me, the
No,
joints.
there's always something, and I think sometimes it's different, but there's always, like, that piece or set of pieces that when you go to
Yeah.
move it, it'll fall apart or yeah, it
It's just
happens.
I think it's me because I stream when I build, so
Oh, yeah,
I
streaming and building is so hard. I haven't mastered that's why I rarely do it. You can
I
ask
can't
me
wait
too.
to when you guys do it, let me know, I'll come in
Oh, okay,
and
yeah.
be,
Heck
like,
yeah.
telling
No,
everyone
let
to be
we
quiet.
should do like a build challenge where it's like
Oh,
we
yeah!
all take
Hey,
a kit, we're all streaming together,
let's
and
go.
first one to
Sure,
finish it without screwing up.
it's
I'll
really
do it
good.
whenever you want because I mean, I have a backlog that's in bags because I have no space and I need to build. So if you guys
We'll
wanna
Okay.
have to
do
take a
some
shot every time we mess up though, that'll make it extra fun.
oh, then I'm not gonna pay attention at all. So, yeah, that's I don't know if that's a good thing, but yeah. Cool. Unicorn, huh? That's really interesting.
Um, And so yeah, obviously since then the high grade Gunpla line has gone through many changes because 1990 to like 2015 is when the Revive, I think,
Right.
line started. And I've got like my collection of Zetas from um every generation of Zeta, and I'm like, okay, so this one I like the way it transforms. This one can pose really well. This one has terrible color separation. I'm very I'm very discerning about my Zetas.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, if
sometimes we think of
it's a
like
great,
mixing
yeah.
them, like getting the best of some, custom making your own
Yeah, a
ultimate
Franken
Zeta.
kit.
Yeah.
Now, do you find yourself, Vampy, doing this kind of thing where it's like you'll get different versions of the same kit and then
Yes.
like
It's a problem, you know? It's not good. So, but I do like the camphor a lot because it's one of my favorite designs. Who doesn't like the
Ooh.
camphor? I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind
Camper's
of
cool.
ridiculous. Even though blue is not my favorite color, I love the camphor. Loved it in the anime or the movie, but I feel like the camphor, they need a 2.0, and this is just me being annoying, because I even tweeted at them on socials, and I was like, "Hey, if you guys want to make a 2.0 for camphor, because I built three of them, thinking like through the years, like the other one was 10 years ago. It's still the same, but they reprinted it, and I thought it was going to be different, but it's not. It still has the screws. Still has the paper, the insert in it.
yeah. And
Yeah,
it's like you have a 2.0 Alex, but you
Oh,
don't
that's
have
right.
a master grade Zaku Kai. It's only an RE100, and then you don't
yeah,
have a 2.0 Camphor. So it's like, man, 0080 gets done dirty.
yeah. They really. It's just, come on. Give us some clicking joints or something, or like with the PC part, that
Yeah.
polycap, because I feel like the screws are useless now. And I was when
Yeah.
I was streaming like recently on Monday, I was putting it together and I was like complaining, and that's not a good feeling when you're just
Yeah.
going backwards, you're like, because you're spoiled now. Everything sounds like it has a little click, and
So
the joints are really
satisfying.
good. Not like I'm saying people do not build the camphor. It's a great kit. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just old.
It could use an update. That's
Yes.
Yeah.
that's really what and they just came out with like a what they call the metal build where they're like the action figures.
Yeah, I
They're
love
coming out
that
with a
one.
camphor one. Looks great, but
Yeah.
those are expensive.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, I had to hustle my friend. I was like, "Do you really want it? Cuz you pre-ordered, but you don't need it, right?" And my friend's like, "Well, are you serious?" Like, it's going for like 800 or $700 online right now. I'm like, "But it's coming out next year, I think. It ships next year."
Yeah, it's like later
So,
on. Yeah.
it's gorgeous.
I know.
It's ridiculous. But I think it was originally like $300 or something, but
Yeah.
it's worth it. Look at it.
Yeah,
It's
those things are
beautiful.
amazing. I have a
Beautiful.
couple metal builds, but they're just expensive. So
Yeah.
it only goes so far.
Hey, but you have a couple. That's better than 0.
Yeah, I
So
just hold on to that as my life savings for one day when I need some extra money.
Right.
Yeah.
They can only accrue value. It's like investing in gold.
Oh,
I
okay, there you
I
go.
I do have something to say as a collector, because all of us are collectors, right?
Mhm.
So one
Naturally.
thing I learned from my friend all my friends are collectors, which is maybe that's why they're my friends, so we don't feel so weird. So my friend who is an older collector, they were into super robots, and I was like, "How do you choose when to stop?" How do you
Mm.
choose the time when to stop buying one thing, one style? Like, for example, Sazabi, right? Everyone loves Sazabi, or like those RX-78. They're like, you eventually just buy one really, really nice one big, one really, really nice one, the most expensive one. You buy one. And I was like, it clicked in my head. I was like, that is a good, or just the most nostalgic thing. So I've been trying to do it that way, but it's hard because there's so many good high grade kits.
Right.
There's so many good high
Yeah.
grade kits. All the kits are good, but it does make sense to me. If there's one that's really, really good, I'll buy one. But it is hard just to buy one. But I'm getting towards that because there's I can't find another room
Yeah.
So
magically.
if you
That's
had to narrow it
So
down, what would be your one? What's the one grail kit?
Grail,
Like
like,
the holy
it would be
grail,
just metal builds, honestly.
just metal builds?
I love building, and I feel like if we're all builders, so we can all build, right? And we
Mhm.
can continually build. but having one to display would be a metal build or just like something that's a really nice perfect grade or something. If they have more perfect grades, customize that and it's done. Like the Exia was perfect. I don't think perfect grade Exia by
Oh,
far my favorite perfect grade.
oh,
Like it's just it looks beautiful and it just everything was a fun build. Everything about it was a fun build, you know. So I think that was my favorite perfect grade. Like not even the Zaku and stuff like that was my favorite because it was older. So
that is
Yeah.
interesting. Sometimes you won't expect something to be as cool or interesting until you actually get it or build it, and then you're like, "Wow, I appreciate this a lot more."
like the
That is
Barbados, for example, the
oh,
Masquerade Barbados, that one's a really good build, insanely good. Because the internal, we can talk about this forever, but
Oh
the
yeah.
internal parts of the chest was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, all of those
Yeah.
IBO kits, like the internal frame is so it's so satisfying to kind of like see all of the way they move and like they have like the active pistons and things like that, which is
oh,
always
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Like they did something new to it when I was building because we did a build. So it just came out, the Barbados came out, the Master Grade. We all went in a group and built it at the same time. It was crazy. And then we all at the same time said, "Oh my god, the chest is different from other Master Grades." And we all like had this realization that this is the best Master Grade.
That's
Even
neat.
though Barbados wasn't my favorite design at the at first,
Sure.
eventually loved it more when I built it.
Build it, yeah.
So yeah.
That's definitely a thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've had that kind of experience too, where it's like you don't appreciate a mobile suit until you build it, and then I've also
Yeah,
had the reverse where it's like you think you love a mobile suit until you build it. Um, but
yeah.
my personal one is the Dovin Wolf. Like I bought
Oh,
the high grade kit because I was like, I love the Dovin Wolf. It's big, it's chunky, and then when I built it, I was like, this is skinny and pathetic. Like I don't I
Oh,
oh
don't love this anymore.
no! It's kinda like, this is not an EVA unit. What is going on here? Why is the legs like
Yeah.
that?
Do you
The
have any
EVA unit.
experiences like that where it's like you were really excited about a kit and then once you built it, you were like, "I don't."
Too many. Like Deep Striker?
oh,
Yeah.
that's an interesting one. And,
It's
like,
just
the Nightingale had, like, giant pieces where I was kinda like, I would rather have built this
yeah.
than just put the giant pieces together,"
The
but
Deep Striker was like that. I was so excited, and then they reused old parts, and it just had a bunch of it was just a mess. But I finished it, you know,
Yeah, I
on
mean,
stream, and
once
I loved it. But I was like, why do I have extra parts? Because they used the old parts. So it was
huh.
kind of a mess, and I didn't like it after a while. So that was my main one I didn't like, the Deep Striker, which I thought I was gonna like because it looks cool.
yeah,
But
I mean, I
yeah,
love everything from Sentinel and, like, even the, just the designs, like, that.
sorry if you didn't build it yet, but I think you should still build it if you built it already. I'm not sure, but I think you should still have it. It's a really cool kit. It's
And where do you
just
put it?
oh, I put it back there. There is back there, but in
Oh.
two different pieces. So I
Oh,
had to take it
Okay.
apart because it doesn't fit. It's
wow,
just
yeah,
those kits are like, where do you put it?
yeah.
And it
Yeah,
gets dusty like crazy. But well, that's another stream.
Yeah,
Like
that's like another
while we build or something, we can talk
yeah.
about
yeah.
that.
Yeah, we have to figure out, like, ways to, because so, like, Adam, you have your acrylic case to kind of keep your Gunpla dust free.
Yeah.
I have my shelves, but I need to, like, seal them, like, hermetically seal them or something, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm actually doing that. I'm gonna replace my other shelves that I have here that don't have any protection, and I'm gonna replace them. I have to because I have to dust regularly. I had to. Yeah, again, we could talk about this forever, but yeah, it's
Yeah, I feel like that's just dusting is a whole 'nother beast. It's like,
Yeah,
how do you I have a way, but then we can talk about that later.
yeah,
But
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to share your secret with us.
yeah,
Yeah.
So this topic, just re-entering the West, we kind of already talked about this. It's just like how many times they've kind of rebooted the franchise
Mm.
to bring in new audiences, which I think is cool. It's one of the things Adam and I talk about this a lot, where it's like, you know, you only have one Star Wars universe, so it's like, and Gundam is like, Japanese Star Wars. It's like that big of a deal. But Star Wars only has like one thing going for it, whereas Gundam, we have new Gundams coming out all the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Different ways to get in.
Yeah. Some are better than others. I think that us wing kids are cooler than the seed crowd. No offense to those in the chat that were.
Oh, man, I get in so many discussions about seed, and it's because of the generational gap.
It really is. I think that
Yeah.
it just comes down to, like,
It's also the eyes too. Sorry, I have to say this.
I always
When
make
you
fun of
grew
that.
up with the eyes that were normal, like, ish in anime, I mean, none of it's normal, but and you go from Zeta, the eyes like this, or
Yeah.
just, and then you go to Seed.
And the problem with Seed is it has those glamour shots of the characters with their
Yeah,
eyes, and then if they're in
it
the
is pretty
background, their eyes are
though.
normal, and it's
I
like,
don't I
"Wait a
don't
minute."
wanna I don't wanna get anyone mad. They're gonna get mad anyway, but it's just
No, yeah.
They're used to us talking about Seed this way. It's okay.
Well,
okay, so me too. So the
and
new
the
Except
movie looks
Destiny.
thing
good though.
Destiny's pretty cool.
Oh,
yeah,
Destiny,
I
yeah.
enjoyed Destiny.
Yeah, the new movie's coming out, and I'm super excited about it because it was, like, number 1,
I
like,
know.
for a whole week or something.
Are you, gonna go to either of the premieres, like the LA premiere?
Okay, so I wanted to, but then I'm actually gonna be visiting my family and, that time, but, I really wanted to because I was, recently in Japan when they did the debut of, like, the promotions, and that was crazy because as the Seed, like, is not I don't always talk about Seed on I mean, when I do, it's never the best about, the so then when I was excited about it, I was like, "This movie looks amazing." Especially the marketing they did. They did a
Yeah.
great job. So,
I think
And
they
just
tightened up
modern
the eyes
animation
too.
too should look
Like, I
great.
think that the eyes look a
are
little
you guys
smaller.
going to the movie? Like
Nah, if I had advance notice, maybe, but that was kind of
Yeah, it was a little
last
too
minute.
late notice for me to
Yeah,
to plan a trip to New York.
it's oh, yeah, it's only 2 places, right? LA and
New York, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it will eventually get to us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So,
I'm hoping somehow, if it's
yeah,
Crunchyroll
but
or
it's
Somehow,
Seed,
whatever.
so I
some way,
can
we
wait,
will watch the
you
Speed
know?
Freedom movie.
Yeah.
Um, I feel bad that we're just finally getting to, the topic of, like, because you are so heavy into cosplay, Adam and I, we talk about Gunpla all the time, but,
Yeah.
like, so this was one of the first things that came up when I was trying to find, like, what was the first Gundam cosplay, and then even when I was looking at that old,
Mhm.
documentary, you see people wearing, like, Federation uniforms back in, like, 1980 saying, like
Yeah.
so like, Gundam cosplay has been a thing as long as Gundam has been a thing, but,
Yeah.
yeah, how did you get into that world and, like, yeah, just
It was pretty easy back then, because of honestly pure boredom because there's not much to do. I always say that because I obviously grew up in Oklahoma, small town, nothing to do, and then but being a huge nerd, having friends that are also nerdy, I guess like helped a lot because as a creative, all of us are. We just like to try new things and we love to learn new skills. So I think cosplay is one of those outlets where you can be a fan, but you can also encapsulate all those feelings you have for a series and then make it your own. So
yeah,
for me, I really loved, you know, was it the Goof Custom cosplay I made was my first one I've ever made. And that was a pretty big feat for me because like like a robot cosplay and I made it like a MS girl.
and you
Uh,
did this before 3D printing was, like, readily available,
yeah,
so, like,
so I
now I
had to
feel like
figure it out.
Gundam cosplay is cheating now because everyone's just got a 3D printer and they're just
And I think 3D printing is awesome. You can 3D print extra pieces, of
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
claw pieces that you're missing, and yeah. So I think that when I was starting out, I saw a lot of Gundam, like Gundam fans, which I was a Gundam fan, but not a lot of Gundam cosplayers, except for maybe two. And I was like, oh man, I guess this is what I'm gonna do. So I made the Goof Custom. I made a Unicorn Gundam cosplay, which I think you guys used for the flyer, and then I made Haman Karn because she's crazy and
Yeah.
I'm kind of crazy. So I was like, I love her, and then I just made a Rain Mikimura from G Gundam.
That
So
the rain was awesome, I have to
yeah.
say. Hey, and I think you're selling yourself short because there was one Gundam cosplay, that you posted on Instagram some time ago, which is my favorite, the Box Gundam.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Everyone gets boxes, okay? All of us. We buy stuff online. And I was like, one day I was like, I haven't done the box Gundam yet, so let's do that. Uh,
Yeah, MS
you
Box.
know? And I didn't have a Halloween costume because this is a known thing in cosplay. If you guys ever cosplay or if you talk to a cosplayer, cosplayers who do this, like what you have here,
Yeah.
who, spend hundreds and thousands of hours sometimes on their costume. Um, on Halloween, we generally don't make anything extravagant. We make things out of like just or pretty much like the basic devil nurse or something. So I was
Uh,
like, well, I'll be the basic Gundam nerd and I will be a box Gundam.
That's so perfect.
that's
So
Yeah.
funny.
yeah, anyone can do it. I mean, I hope to see more for
Do you
Do
feel
you
Halloween.
like
have
there's
like
a
a piece of advice
crossover of
that you would give to? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Adam.
But
Oh, no, I was gonna say, is there like a crossover of building Gunpla and building costumes? Do you
yes,
is it
because
like the same energy?
it's very much so
Okay.
because when you're built like for example, since you mentioned unicorn. So, unicorn, obviously, for diversity, they had the unicorn there, and I got really excited about it. And I had this favorite cosplayer named Goldie. I met up with him at one show, and he was his name is like I think he cosplayed a lot of super robots before, and they call him Gold. He did a Goldie Marg and all this stuff. And I asked him, I said, "Hey, how did you make your costume?" Because we're all fabricators. Like if you make Gunpla and you customize, you can make a cosplay. So behind me is my Goof Custom shoulder
I see that.
uh,
Oh,
Yeah.
piece right there. So that's made out of fiberglass and Bondo and whatever else I had, whatever. But because you're always curious. So I asked him like what material he used, and he was like, "Oh, Sintra, which is signboard and sticker." And I said, "Oh my god, I don't have to paint." So immediately I got the MS Girl unicorn, and then I was like, "Oh, cutting the pieces," and I started. So we didn't have any references, and my only references was building a kit. So that's how we did it back then. We
That's
built the
amazing.
kit, and we looked at the kit, and then we would transfer that information to. But if you also were a graphic designer, it would be better because you can do all this stuff, or you know how to use
oh,
Photoshop.
yeah. That's
Yeah, I didn't know how to do that, so
cool.
I built the kit to learn the
See, and
pieces.
I think that there's something to be said about like having that sort of tactile, hands-on approach as opposed to
Yeah,
just kind of like going all digital. So I think
this was
that's
a
really
long
cool.
time ago, this picture. It's
Yes, it was.
2011.
Well, and so you
Oh,
mentioned diversity, and I was like, oh,
yeah.
I should bring up this, because you've like I said, you've hosted some of these incredible events. You've interviewed some fantastic people. What has that been like being such a strong advocate and ambassador of the brand and franchise?
It's kind of I mean, the thing is, all of us are just nerds. So it's doing this stuff is really fun, but then also the journey that it takes us is always very exciting for me because I always bring this back. I'm going to bring it back again as an 80s geek. Seeing this, fandom get bigger and bigger, you just want to share it with everyone because it was so out of place for us to even, or not out of place, but out of touch for us to even get the things that we wanted. So for
Yeah.
me, I'm like, it's so easy now. I'm going to tell you where to watch the anime. I'm going to tell you how to get the kits. I'm going to tell you how to build them. I'm going to stream it. So my first streams were building Gunpla like 7 years ago or whatever. When no one even really did that, they're like, well,
Wow.
maybe one or two people, but I don't think it was popular.
I mean,
But
makers and crafting on Twitch has definitely come a long way from.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just in a lot of ways, I wish I did more tutorials or something, but I'm very bad with editing. So, or just even finding an editor because what you guys do is a lot of is a lot,
Yeah.
and
No,
I
well,
realize that because
it
yes,
I think it's a lot of fun, the fact that, because there are some fantastic builders out there, and I think that sometimes it can be intimidating, just like there's fantastic
Yeah.
cosplayers, and so, it's kinda nice to see somebody like me or Adam kinda stumbling our way through things and kind of like, "Oh, okay, so we can figure this stuff out."
Yeah.
and the thing
That's been
is,
a
like
journey.
the way you guys stumble, we do that too with everything that we're doing. We're just like whatever goes, I guess.
Yeah, just
I
learning
don't know if
along
you
the way.
guys know Ranma one half, but it's like
Yeah.
whatever goes kind of
Oh,
thing. Yeah, it's just that's my favorite anime too. But yeah, like going to the Diversity, we went to the Moving Gundam, the ARC 78F00 at the Gundam Factory Yokohama, and then I
So
went to
awesome.
Fukuoka. It was cool. It was definitely cool, but it was not what I expected for it to look like because the unicorn and the ARC 78 in Diversity was definitely different. The way it was, if you
Interesting.
ever go in Fukuoka, it's very different.
I need to go.
Um, how they made that statue. So yeah.
That is so
Cool.
awesome.
Well, real
Well,
quick, I actually do have to jump. If you guys need to carry on, apologies, but we'll connect later. This was a lot of fun. But
hey,
Yeah.
no worries, man. I appreciate you. Like I said, we ran a little over time today, but
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
but
We
no.
have so much to talk
There's so
about.
much more we can talk about. We'll have to
Yes.
do that later. So, all right, I'll talk to you all later.
Yeah. See you
cheers.
soon.
So yeah, I mean, that kind of like wraps up everything that we were kind of talking about anyway.
Mhm.
I think, kind of 2024 going forward, where do you kind of see the Gundam franchise going, and where do you see yourself fitting into it
I
as
feel
things go?
like, well, I mean, the fandom's just getting bigger and bigger. And as long as we have creators out there like you guys watching, or you, like all of us, keep spreading the word of Gundam, and also, obviously, keep building, keep preaching about the fandom and how awesome it is. I think it just will continue to grow in America. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. Grow in America so we can get the cool stuff.
Yeah,
Because yeah, we want the cool stuff. Like Japan has all the cool stuff. They have a million games. We get like one sometimes. So as long as we make it big enough that they can make money, which is because it is a business,
at the end
then
of the
we
day,
can.
it is.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Gundam is a business, and if we get it big, anything can happen. So, like everyone watching, I hope that you guys continue talking about Gundam, get your friends into buying stuff, because we did have a shortage during the pandemic, and that was pretty interesting to see. So
Yeah. And
yeah,
and, like, we had to live through sort of, like, the dark days of, the
yeah,
mid-2000s where there was just, like, this Gundam
mhm,
drought, and there was no video games that were ported to us, and
yeah.
man.
But
So
luckily, we have a backlog, so we were fine for a while.
exactly. I think that we're kind of experiencing a big revival, and I think that's due in no small part to yourself and to the efforts of everyone who's kind of involved with the Springtide event, Aoshi-san and, Red
Yes.
Wolf Vion, who they're gonna have some events coming up, you know,
I'm really
it
excited for that because he's awesome. They're all awesome, and
yeah,
I'm really excited for that. So I'll be checking it out too.
absolutely. Yeah, we put together a really big lineup of creators and shows for you guys. So today was fantastic. This is exactly kind of what I wanted to do is just kind of celebrate being fans and being content creators that can help grow the fandom and make it bigger. Like you said,
This was
make it
really fun. This was really fun. I want to do more. So if you ever want to build sometime, I'm totally down. I've done it
absolutely.
one time before with Bandai actually. We had a build off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had a build off. It was, I forgot what kit it was. It doesn't really matter anymore because I lost. But I want a rematch. So it was a high grade. I think it was a high grade like Sentai like build or
Yeah, I
something.
mean, it would be
Yeah.
unfair to do like a perfect grade or something like that. Like we would have
Oh
to stick
no,
with
that
high
would
grade.
just, especially the sanding. I sand forever, so you don't want to do that with me. Like it's
Oh
just,
yeah.
yeah. So
No,
a high grade would be cool.
yeah, I'm definitely down for that.
Cool, but
So
yeah,
yeah,
thank
thank
you
you
so
so
much for
much
having me.
for joining, and
Yeah, it was so much fun.
yeah,
I
this
hope
is this is
everyone enjoyed it too.
yeah, I
So
hope you guys got a chance to learn something and kind of be a part of this fandom and this kind of growing community that 45 years and still kicking. So let's keep it together and tune into the Gundam Explained show tomorrow. Again, it's going to be a special Springtide, spectacular version. So we'll be posting links to that stuff. And yeah, Vampy, again, thank you so much for coming on. We are definitely going to get together here soon and do some more work. And yeah, this is going to be great.
yeah, thank you so much for having me, and I had a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for keeping it lively in the chat. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. We will catch you tomorrow and then Friday and Saturday for some Gundam Battle Operation exhibitions, I should call them. Cheers, everybody.